Naomi, Wynonna, and Ashley Judd have been a famous American entertainment family for decades. But the Judds have a truly complicated relationship. Here's a wide-ranging roundup of their troubles, family drama, and personal tragedies. Ashley Judd opened the doors to a painful and disturbing past in her 2011 memoir All That Is Bitter and Sweet, in which she recounts numerous incidents of abuse she endured. According to excerpts of the book published by Today, Judd alleges that she was abused by a family member as a child. She was also the victim of assault after being taken advantage of when she was pursuing a modeling career in Japan at just 15 years old. Another assault followed that experience when, quote, an adult male model who lived above her tried to force himself on her until she could convince him to stop. Judd also alleged that her mother, Naomi, and stepfather, Larry Strickland, engaged in shocking and inappropriate behavior in front of her and her sister when they were growing up. Ashley wrote, I now know this situation is called covert sexual abuse. This all led Judd to contemplate ending her own life as a teenager. In the time since Ashley's damning revelations, both her mother Naomi and sister Wynonna have confessed to being abused by men in their lives as well.
Is putting the shame back where it belongs, which is on the perpetrator, and on the society that enables it.
According to ABC News in 2013, Ashley Judd uncovered a tracking device on her car and immediately filed a police report, suggesting her half-sister Wynonna Judd was to blame. It turned out that the device was registered to a private investigator working for Wynonna. Police reports say that Wynonna gave the device to her ex-husband, Arch Kelly III, who tagged the car. In a bizarre twist, the car was never driven by Ashley, but by Wynonna and Arch's 17-year-old daughter, Grace. Ashley believed the device was planted due to an ongoing custody dispute between herself and Wynonna, as Grace was in Ashley's care. According to another article by ABC News, Ashley released a statement about the family drama, saying, the issue at hand is the illegal violation of my privacy in that a tracking device was secretly and unlawfully placed on my vehicle. For my safety and that of everyone around me, I naturally filed a police report, as any citizen would and should. In 2007, Wynonna's life changed forever after her second husband, Dr. Roach, was arrested on charges of assault and battery against a child. Wynonna told Ladies' Home Journal, my first response when it happened was, I am a mother first and foremost. Despite the news, Wynonna claims she knew the type of man she married, saying, I knew what I was getting into and I tried to change it. I knew that both Roach and I had issues with addiction when I married him. I know my life. I know the people I chose. I know why I chose them, and I really thought that I could change people through loving them enough. It doesn't work that way. 5 days after Roach's arrest, Wynonna filed for divorce. She claims that singular action, quote, blew the door open to my soul. According to Us Weekly, Wynonna wed Cactus Moser in June of 2012, with only her children and her new husband's children present. No other family members were notified of the ceremony. This surprised some because the Judd family lives in close proximity to one another on a grand family farm in Tennessee. Wynonna explained her reasoning. I didn't want it to be about anyone but Cactus and me, because to me, at the end of the day, it's the children, Cactus, and me. I was so concerned about making this feel special for them, everything fell away. She also claims her self-esteem would have plummeted if her family was present, adding, if I know Ashley, she would have repositioned my dress, or Mom would have given me a Kleenex to stuff in my bra, or told me I have something in my teeth. I just didn't want that. I just wanted to get married. Despite all the fame and country music glory, Naomi Judd's life hasn't been easy. In 2016, she confessed to suffering from terrible depression. The 70-year-old told Good Morning America, what I've been through is extreme. My final diagnosis was severe depression. It's treatment-resistant because they tried me on every single thing they had in their arsenal. Naomi says there were times she'd come home off the road and be confined to her house for weeks on end, neglecting the life she worked so hard to build. She also intimated that treating her mental condition has taken a physical toll, the years of medication causing her face to swell and her hands to shake. Long before Naomi Judd was a music queen in cowboy boots, she was a nurse in Nashville, Tennessee. According to an article the Star penned for Everyday Health, she worked in the intensive care unit for years. In a workplace accident, Judd was stuck with a needle. Though she didn't at first understand the consequences, her health began to decline in the late 1980s. In 1989, she began suffering from headaches and nausea. Naomi chalked it up to her grueling tour schedule, but later decided to see a doctor, who in 1990 diagnosed her with hepatitis C.
Hepatitis C, as in cat.
From a needle.
Right, back in 1990.
She was given just 3 years to live. However, subsequent treatment was a success. She told the Chicago Tribune in 1998, "I'm cured. I've not only overcome and survived, but I've thrived." She owes her life to a drug called alpha interferon and being one of the lucky 20% of patients, quote, whose body is free of the hepatitis C virus after only using this treatment. Over the years, the tabloids have ruthlessly kept tabs on Wynonna Judd's weight. But in 2003, Wynonna spoke to Oprah about gaining control of her life and eating habits. Judd candidly explained, "I've dedicated my life to country music. I homeschool my children. I worked 3 years on my record. I support, 40 to 50 families. I have for 18 years and I never stopped. And I'm in trouble because I lost myself. I'm the woman who forgot to put herself on the list. And I'm real tired. I don't have it together. I'm losing my way here." The country vocalist claims her weight drama started in her childhood after her parents divorced. She said, "I had been so alone those years of my life. I would get so hungry I would get panicky. Those bad habits followed her all the way through young adulthood, and Judd was at her heaviest in 1998 after divorcing her first husband, Arch Kelly III. By 2010, however, Wynonna had dropped a whopping 55 pounds, according to People. She told the outlet, "My weight was a symptom and not the problem. I used food to soothe and reward, and I don't do that anymore." Ashley Judd experienced a notably chaotic childhood, going to 13 schools in 12 years and shifting between different family caretakers. In an interview with Glamour, the star admitted that she strived to, quote, behave perfectly in order to compensate for her lack of security during childhood. But the rigorous discipline proved impossible to sustain. In 2006, the star checked herself into Texas rehab facility Shades of Hope Treatment Center. She sought treatment for depression, isolation, and relational codependency, according to Glamour. Ashley made her decision after observing her sister Wynonna's efforts at personal improvement. She concluded that because they were from the same family, they suffered from similar emotional wounds. Ashley ended up staying in rehab for 47 days. Sisters Wynonna and Ashley learned only later in life that they shared different fathers. Wynonna's father is Charles Jordan, not Michael C. Simonella, whom Naomi married the same year Wynonna was born. Michael and Naomi welcomed daughter Ashley 4 years later in 1968. Wynonna found out in her 30s, telling Oprah in 2003, "The first thing I said was, 'It's okay,' and of course I'm raging inside, and I've just now come to realize I'm really angry." Ashley confessed to knowing the dark secret long before anyone else. "I think not knowing the truth is what has messed her up rather than having found out. I had more compassion and understanding for her because I knew. It's interesting that I didn't consider it my place to tell her." According to The Telegraph, Ashley Judd was the first actress to speak out against film producer Harvey Weinstein in the New York Times bombshell report. Judd made a harassment complaint in October 2015, but she didn't name names. 2 years later, Judd revealed that the harasser was Weinstein and claimed that the producer allegedly blacklisted her for rejecting his advances. She told ABC News, "My career opportunities, after having been defamed by Harvey Weinstein, were significantly diminished. My career was damaged because I rebuffed Mr. Weinstein's advances. I know it for a fact." The New York Times reports that Judd filed a lawsuit against Weinstein, quote, for defamation and sexual harassment. A judge later dismissed the harassment portion of the claim in January 2019, then paused the remaining portion of the suit in August 2019 until the conclusion of Weinstein's simultaneous criminal trial. In early 2020, Weinstein was convicted on 2 counts and sentenced to 23 years in prison. According to Radar Online, Wynonna's daughter, Grace Pauline Kelly, was arrested in 2015 for, quote, promotion of meth manufacture. A bag thrown from her car was found to contain a box of pseudoephedrine and a receipt showing a purchase of Coleman fuel, both of which are used to make methamphetamine. In 2016, Kelly pleaded guilty and was able to reduce her felony charge to the misdemeanor charge of meth possession. According to Radar Online, she was arrested later that year as a, quote, fugitive from justice. Her probation was revoked and her case was transferred to drug court. That's where she pleaded guilty to, quote, meth manufacture, delivery, sale, and possession with intent and evading arrest, which landed her jail time, extended probation, and 180 days of court-ordered rehab. Kelly ended up leaving rehab early and got sentenced to 8 years in prison, but according to People, was released in 2019, 6 years early. In 2012, Wynonna Judd's husband and touring drummer, Cactus Moser, endured a life-threatening motorcycle accident. According to CNN, the pair set out on separate bikes before a concert in South Dakota. Unfortunately, Moser suffered a head-on collision with another vehicle. Moser's left leg was severed in the event, and he was transported to a hospital where doctors amputated the rest of his leg above the knee. In an interview with Entertainment Tonight, Wynonna described the horrific ordeal. "I run back and he's just laying there and I hear nothing. And then I heard the most beautiful sound on earth, and that is him breathing." According to Billboard, Wynonna continued her tour less than a month after the accident. About 15 months later, her husband joined her again on stage. She told ET, "One day you lose your leg, the next day you go on tour." The Judds have clearly been through a lot over the decades. In fact, Ashley was so fed up with it when she was a child that, according to The Telegraph, she wanted to get as far away from Naomi and Wynonna as possible. She said, "I was ready to blow out of town and get started in the Peace Corps, or bail on that and hit Hollywood, my secret dream." As we know, she chose the latter, but these days, it seems that the family actually has a tight-knit bond. Naomi told the Oprah Winfrey Network about her relationship with Ashley in 2016. "It's interesting how time changes things. Our relationship is so good because she comes in the back door, she plops down on the kitchen couch, and she was telling us what all was going on. She got up and she got ready to leave, and she said,
'This is my happy place.' She said, 'As long as you guys are right here, this is my favorite place in the world.'"
If you or someone you know is having suicidal thoughts, please call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-TALK or 8255, or text HOME to the crisis text line at 741-741.